Joining us now on the dais is the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Charlie Strong. Welcome, Coach, and your thoughts about the upcoming season.
We're really excited, and you always get excited this time of season because you know that you're only a few weeks away. Things are really going to get started, and you get into preseason camp. But I look at last season, and I know this: we got to be better than what we were last year. The last 2 years, we got to elevate. We got to elevate this program, and it's all about just making sure that our players understand that it's all about accountability, it's about responsibility, but it's about just moving this program forward. I look at the last 2 years of what we've done in our recruiting, and really, you look at Malik, you look at Vahi, you look at Connor Williams, you look at 3 All-Americans last season, then you look at our 2 freshman corners. But we had a lot of freshmen to go out and play last year. Chris Warren. But you look at this signing class that we just brought in with 28 signees, and then we got the 4 players from Baylor. And I told our team the other day, these are Texas Longhorns, and that's who they are, and let's welcome them in. But just excited, really happy the way we worked this offseason. Our team is really coming together. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of momentum, and guys are beginning to believe in one another. And one of our themes right now is believe, and I tell them all the time, if you don't believe in yourself, no one would ever believe in you. So it's time for us to start believing in ourselves and getting this program headed back in the right direction.
Okay, we'll take questions for Coach. If you'll put your hand up. We're going to start up here on the front, and then we'll come to the side. Please, your name and your affiliations, please.
Sean Adams, AM 1300 The Zone. Coach, obviously going into this season, questions are on offense, but what about the defense, and how do you figure out how to get off the field on third down?
Sean, we have to be better on defense, and you look at a team, and you always want to build a team because if you're ever going to be good, you have to be good on defense. And you look at us last year, we were very poor. We were able to stop people on first and second down, but our third down, we weren't able to get off the field, and it just allowed drives to continue on. But it's all about just guys making sure that defensively it's got to be a major improvement. And you look at just up front, you got to be able to have pass rushers, and this is a throwing league. We talk about this being a throwing league, but when you allow teams to run the ball on you, then you're knowing that right now that they can impose their will. And we weren't able to make a team one-dimensional at all because they could run the ball and they can throw the football. But we got to be able to make teams one-dimensional. We got to be able to get off the field on third down, and we have to improve on defense.
We've got a question on the outside left, and if you would, please put your hand up. It's hard for Coach to see. There you go. Thank you. On the outside left, over on this side, Coach. Right here.
Harrison Graham, ESPN Dallas Radio. Coach, you bring in Sterling Gilbert. How quickly do you think that offense is going to pay off regardless of who the quarterback is this year?
Well, Harrison, we're still working, and Sterling knows just how quickly and what you like to see happen is you want to just see progress, and you want to make sure that you get someone who can command the offense, someone that can move the ball, but you have to be very balanced. And if we're able to establish a running game, then I think it's going to make it a lot easier for our quarterback because now he's going to be able to make the throws. But it's all about just being balanced with the run and pass, and that's what we're working for.
Got a question on the aisle about halfway back on the left.
Yeah, Charlie, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoma. In your 2 years, you haven't won as much as you'd like, but your 2 games against Oklahoma, you've played very well. You beat them last year, dominated them the year before. They had 2 big returns and beat you. What's been your secret to playing so well in that Cotton Bowl game?
Well, I think it is, Barry. They figure out who they're playing, and I wish they figure out that every week. But no, it's about being consistent. But I think that's when you look at that matchup, and it's an unbelievable matchup. And when you walk into that game, you're right. You can just throw the records out the door because they're going to come and they're going to go play, and nothing has to be said. You know, as one game, I don't even have to give a pep talk. When we walk out there, it's like when you come back in, there's so much energy in the stadium that is not much has to be said. Okay, guys, it's time to go play, and let's see what we got today. But you like to see that, like to see us play like that all the time. And that's what we have. And, you know, you go play well against Oklahoma, then you follow up the next week with a big win, and then you go lose a game that you just never even showed up in. And that's on us as a coaching staff.
Right here on the aisle in the front.
Hey, Charlie, Brian Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. you'll get asked this a bunch probably today, so I'll go ahead and do it.
I know you would.
Exactly. Are you at peace with the fact that Texas fans everywhere are going to be counting victories and wanting to see progress, and basically this season could be a referendum on whether you should stay as the head coach?
Well, Brian, you know what? The expectations here are always high, which they should be, and why would you want it any other way? And it should. You know, there's no reason for us to go 6-7 and 5-7. And you want to see progress. I totally agree with that, and we should. And then that's what we're working for. Our goal is to win every game, and it's to work to go win those games, and it shouldn't be any different.
We got a question on the rear, and then we're going to come to this side.
Charlie, with the Big 12, John Helsley with the Oklahoman. With the Big 12 moving toward a championship game, what would be your preference for determining who plays in that game?
Well, John, I think that the commissioner and everyone is doing everything possible to make that happen, and for them to get the facts worked out. It really doesn't matter to me. It just want to make sure that it's going to be done the right way, because everybody wants to see it happen, and it's good that we're going to have a Big 12 championship game.
On the outside left, Chuck, put your hand up so we can see you. Thank you.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Charlie, just compare and contrast where the program is when you stepped into it 2 years ago, where it is now, and how far away are you from where you want to be?
Well, Chuck, it's hard to go back because you're always looking for progress each and every year. But you come into this season and you feel pretty good at where you are, because you look at the two last classes and you have some really good players in those classes. But also you can't overlook the fact that we have a lot of older players in our program too that's done a good job. And the guys I got here with Dylan Haynes, with Boyette, with Perk, and with Blewett, those guys that are here today, they've done a really good job, and they've done a great job now of establishing the program and wanting to get it back to where it should. And you want to see progress, and it has to happen. But when you look at a program, last year we signed 2 guys, 300 pounds. This year is 9, but you got to win the game up front, and they're all big guys. But that's what you look at our signees of the 28-14 were big guys, and you want to make sure that happens. But you just want to see the development and just make sure that you continue to move it and grow it each and every year.
Question on the outside right.
Coach Mike Roach from Hornsports.com. In the past couple of years, you've commented on the lack of upperclassmen leadership in the program. How do you feel going into this year with your upperclassmen?
Well, it's a lot better than what it's been, Mike. And if you harp on something enough, then I think that they get the message, and they've gotten the message now. Because, like I said, the 4 guys I got here, even with Tyrone doesn't say much, but he works. And he works and he goes about it the right way. There's another, Bryce Cottrell. Probably one of my best leaders on the team is Tim Cole. And Tim understands his role. You're sitting there, you're looking at Tim Cole. He plays behind Malik. But guys respect Tim Cole because just how hard he works and how he carries himself.
Got a question in the rear?
Yeah, Charlie, Nate Fain, Game Day U, University of Oklahoma. With what happened with Art Briles at Baylor, how do you think that's going to affect the recruiting landscape in Texas?
Well, you're always looking to improve your recruiting, and guys always know this. I'm one of those guys that I like to close late. I always say a lot of times when guys make commitments, they're making a reservation, and a lot of times they don't stick to it. So I'll always be one of those guys who want to close late, and I tell guys all the time, listen, you go visit wherever you want to go visit. You go commit to whomever you want to go commit to, but at the end, I'm going to come back and I'm going to see where your interest is and see if we can somehow convince you to come to the University of Texas.
Got a question on the aisle?
Charlie, Chip Brown, Horns Digest, AM 1300, The Zone. Shane Buechele, what has he shown you even over the summer that tells you he's ready to compete for this job? And do you think he could start the game against Notre Dame?
Well, Chip, nothing has changed from Shane from the day one he stepped on campus. I call him one of those guys. You see guys there, the gym rats. That's what he is. He's always around the facility. You always see him. I was in there Sunday, getting ready to go down to San Antonio, and walked in the game room, and him and Colin Johnson in there shooting pool. And I said to him, I said, "Do you ever go to your room?" And but he's a guy that it's just, some guys just have that ability about him, and you can just tell that, you know what, he's a special young man, probably because of the way he was raised with his father, with Steve doing an unbelievable job. Even his mom, I think she's the one who's done a better job than Steve. But you just love his overall attitude. But when you have a guy like Shane working the way he works, it rubs off on the whole team. And because now everybody's seeing the way he works, and they all do it. You know, last night, me and Blewett was talking about it. And Blewett, every time I walk in the game, I see him and Blewett, they're shooting pool. And Blewett's like, it's nothing he can't do. Then he goes and plays ping pong. Then he plays basketball. Then he goes and plays a little golf. But it, just like his overall attitude, and just how it right now it's like within the whole team, it's just seeping.
We had a question on the left side. Put your hand up.
Yeah. John Warner, Waco Tribune Herald. You mentioned the 4 guys you got from Baylor. Do you expect any of them to play this year, or do you see them more as redshirt guys?
Well, it's so hard to tell right now because we haven't started practice. But you look at the 2 Duvernays, they're there right now with Pat Hudson and with JP. But they're not only are they good players, but they're unbelievable young men. You know, great character guys, and that's why I told our team it's all about us pulling them in, all of us joining together, and don't ever make them feel like they do not belong, because they do belong, and they're going to be a part of the success here.
Question on the front right.
Coach Strong, Sean Adams, AM 1300 The Zone. You had a lot of success with freshmen last year. Some freshmen All-American, but even the ones that weren't American, All-American, John Burt and that group. Now you have to rely on another group of freshmen. Is it a lot to ask another group of freshmen to come in and really contribute in order for you guys to be successful?
Well, when you look at it now, Sean, is a lot of teams are playing a number of freshmen, but you look at that group that we played last year, we played a large number, and so now with this group that's coming in, either some of them may have an opportunity to start, or they're going to add a lot of depth for us, which you like to see happen. But it's all about the preparation, and if you get guys prepared the right way, it doesn't matter. You know, sometimes you get concerned about the bigger guys, because now if I'm a freshman defensive lineman or offensive lineman, and I'm going against a veteran who's been 4 years or 5 years into someone's program, they're a lot bigger and stronger, so they're going to know a lot more. But skill guys, you know, it's just athlete on athlete. And so now with skill guys, you can see it happening. You talk about like John Burt last year coming in as a freshman and contributing the way he does. You know, if a guy can run and jump, and, you know, he's going to use his athletic ability to overpower someone. So the biggest concern is up front, because you talk about the linemen. And so now you just got to make sure that you got to bring them along, and just once you bring them along, just watch them develop and let them grow.
Got a question on the left side. Put your hand up, Cedric.
Hey, Charlie, Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. You beat Oklahoma and Baylor last year. You still go 5-7. Did you use those as teaching tools, those wins, in the offseason, and how can those experiences benefit your guys this fall?
You know what I did said is I took, you know, like the last few weeks, I've taken a game and I've put it on in the building, and you know, 1 week it may be the Oklahoma game, then the next week it may be the Iowa State game. But you know, I put on those games for our players to see, and some of them they liked the game, some they didn't like. Try to get me to turn it off, and I said no, do not touch that TV. Don't turn that TV off. But we're sitting in the locker room after the Baylor game, and the guys are just sitting there. And I call them up and talk to them, and I said, "Okay, guys, it's time to go." And they're just like looking at me, and I said, "Okay, what's wrong?" And it's like, "The season's over." I said, "Yes, it's over." And I said, but if we had a play like this, then we could continue. We should be continuing on, and I think that's the taste that is left in their mouth, because they felt like, hey, we should be a team that should have continued on. And then we get into the bowl season, and I text a few of them, and I said, how you guys feel now? And they are all upset. And I said, but you should be. But now, you know what? It stings a little, and it should sting, because if you're a competitor, it's going to sting.
Got a question straight back.
Coach Strong, Joe Trahan from WFAA TV here in Dallas. Now that you enter your third year, I suspect that you have firmly entrenched your culture on your team. And in so doing, how have you seen that manifest itself in the offseason program and heading into the season?
Well, Joe, they're taking ownership themselves now, and the message is not that I have to stand up and just preach to them all the time now. And it's when you talk about just our upperclassmen, they're taking it over, and they are the ones who are saying, "Hey, we got to go do this," instead of a coach always saying, "Hey, you're not working hard." And if they see someone not working hard, now they're being more vocal about it, and they're telling the young man, because now that the culture has been set. Once you develop that ownership and once they take the ownership, then you let them just run it. And not so much they're running the team, but they see what needs to be done. And they know one another and they know how hard one another works. So now it's more like them calling each other out.
Got a question here on the front.
Charlie, hi. Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports. Sooner or later, they're going to have to decide the divisions in this new look Big 12. If one Texas-Oklahoma game is monumental, what would two be like if you guys are in opposite divisions?
Oh, it'd be something special, Dennis. But you know what, you look at it, and I think that, the commissioner and everyone that's involved, they're going to do a great job with it because when you look at it, the way we're setting it up in the beginning, if you play someone early, then if you play someone late, then you wouldn't have to see them again in the playoff. But I think that we'll get it worked out the right way, and it's going to be whomever ends up in it's going to be a big-time game.
Question on the right-hand side about halfway back. Put your hands up.
Coach, it's Anwar Richardson, Orange Bloods. With you hiring Sterling Gilbert in the offseason, do you feel like he will give you an offense that you kind of need to be competitive here in the Big 12?
Well, and when you look at the state of Texas, and we just came back from San Antonio at the Texas High School Coaches Association, and the high school coaches there do an unbelievable job. It's the offenses that are set up in this state. All of them are wide open, and so now when you bring in a coach who has been involved with that offense, it's amazing how it takes off. Like I'm sitting out there, and you take a guy like Davion Curtis. He just came in. He knows the offense, and he can make the calls. And Lorenzo Joe. So all those guys have been in the offense, so it makes it that much easier for them to adapt to it. You don't have to do a lot. A lot of times people think, well, hey, there's so much going on. Really, it isn't a lot going on. It's all about, you taking advantage of what a defense gives you, and then you're able to get the right guy behind the center and let him make the throws for you and get you in the right place.
Question on the outside left.
Dean Blevins, News 9, Oklahoma City. Charlie, can you tell us a little more about Shane on the field, what type of quarterback he is, strengths, and maybe areas he can improve upon?
Well, when you look at him on the field, he's one of the guys. He just puts the ball in the right place, and he understands the offense. But he's going to study the game, and he does a really good job of studying the game, and he can always get better. You can always improve, and the thing he needs to do now, and he's working on it to get bigger and stronger because he understands he's going to take some hits. We haven't hit him. I don't let we can hit swoops because he's a lot bigger, and he tries to run them over anyway. So they don't want to hit swoops, but with Shane, it's about him getting bigger and stronger, and he'll get better. All those quarterbacks, they're going to get better because they're willing to work, and when you're willing to work and you put in the time, then you'll get better.
Okay, Coach, thank you very much for your comments, and if I can get you to sign up a couple of footballs over here before you.
All righty. Thank you.